people speak that the officials from the European Union and from the United States, they want to nominate Vladimir Zelensky this year for the prize, the Nobel Prize of the Peace. Who is
worth the prize, you mean? Yeah. I have nominated Julian Assange for the Nobel Prize. One main reason I wrote in my nomination letter to the Nobel Prize Committee, it was the significance, the value of the principal message that Assange has delivered to the world, which is the need for transparency in government. Transparency in government, it does not mean purely the call for transparency to the political leaders, but general in governing positions, the cooperative world, in enterprises, public or private. There is this accountability. It is so related to the issue of transparency and so related with the issue of democracy. You know, in an interview, during an interview I gave to RT many years ago.
The disclosures made by WikiLeaks aim to reveal the secrets that actually belong to the people which have elected those authorities which are abusing power by not telling the truth. Democracy. Be thankful for that effort.
That is my point. Now, you ask me about this comparison. I remember I have read the letter nominating Zelensky to the Nobel Prize for some time ago. There were some people from the European Union, etc. And what I remember of that letter is that they talk about the brave Ukrainian fully engaged in the defense of democracy. It was, the concept of democracy, the defense of democracy, who was the main rationale in the platform arguing for Nobel Prize for Zelensky, and then, I mean, Zelensky, what has he done for democracy if not only destroyed democratic institutions surviving there in Ukraine? The trade unions in Ukraine, that expression of democracy has been liquidated in Ukraine. Then you have the freedom of expression, which is also a monumental foundation of democracy. Well, Zelensky has forbidden, all oppositional TV and other media which is not following the line of his government. And then we have freedom of religion. Oppositional parties, they practically do not exist in Ukraine. They're all, forbidden. There is no possibility to free express your opinion in Ukraine. Now, Zelensky, in top of his government, what has he done in order to switch off, in order to finish with that so-called hit list or so-called killing list that Mirotvorets, in which they just put there freely, as criminals against the state or whatever, any person who in the public forum criticize the breaches to democratic rule which has been happening in Ukraine. As a matter of fact, I am also in that list, and not recently. I am in that list since 2015, 16 or something. Why? Because I founded the organization Swedish Doctor for Human Rights, and then we were engaged in denouncing the war crimes committed in Ukraine at that time against the Donbas populations. So those lists, are an expression of a totalitarian state, not an expression of a democratic state, because in democratic state you are supposed to tolerate difference of opinions, criticism and denouncings about the wrongdoings from the part of those in power. So comparing the nomination of Assange with the nomination of Zelensky, well, when they said to me this in a conversation, in the work or something like that, I would have believed it was a joke, because it is at that level. I mean, you just cannot compare. They are actually antipodes. They have two extremes, if I may say. So in one extreme you have a person like Assange calling for transparency and calling for respect of the democratic rights and the civil rights of people, okay? And not only calling, not only explaining about that, but actively doing things, risking himself in order to make denouncings of, for instance, war crimes, like he did about the Iraq war, when he published that famous video, Collateral Murder. I cannot show all the sequence of this documentary by Assange because of YouTube rules. Understandable, I may say. So in one extreme you have a person like Assange denouncing war crimes, and then on the other extreme you have Zelensky, which permitted the implementation of war crimes. For instance, and I have denounced it in the indictor, and also on Twitter, of course, the killing or the execution of prisoners of war, of Russians, POWs, you know. So it's like a joke, you know, to compare Zelensky with Assange in reference to the Nobel Peace Prize.
Mm. Thank you very much. Very interesting. If we continue to draw parallels between Assange and Zelensky, well, people